Hi, my name is Philip Brunton and welcome to Jazzplate lesson number 5. A reminder to download your PDF worksheet for lesson 5 at mymusicpb.com/jazzplate. Now looking at the top of the page, you'll remember we learnt the minor 7th in lesson 4, and today we have the dominant 7th, which has a major 3rd, but that minor 7th and a perfect 5th. And what's unique is between the 3rd and the 7th we have what's called a tritone. That is 3 whole tones. There's kind of dissonance about it, which needs resolving to there. Now it's called a dominant 7th because it's a chord based on the 5th note of a key, and the 5th note of the key is called the dominant. And we write a dominant 7th with the letter for the chord, a major chord, and then the 7th represents a minor 7th. So it's the dominant 7th. Okay, now we're going to start with our warm-up as we did last week. And we had our 3 notes of a major scale. We realized when we put 2 of those bars together, we had 6 notes of a major scale. But if we put 3 bars together, we have a Mixolydian scale up to the 9th. And that's the scale you might use eventually on a dominant 7th chord. So this will be our warm-up, and before we do our warm-up, we'll have our tuning to A440. I'll give it another one. Okay, playing together our warm-up as shown on line 2 and 3 of your worksheet. Okay, we're going to move on to our 3 exercises to get fluent with our dominant 7ths. So we'll start with exercise number 1. I play the first bar, you repeat. number 2 without the gap. Okay, moving on to exercise number 3, dominant sevenths with a cycle of fifths. Now moving on to page 2, at the top you'll see the dominant seventh laid out with a chord and then a scale. And the scale is called a Mixolydian scale. It also looks like a major scale with a minor seventh note. So looking at that scale, we'll discover that the fourth note is a minor second away from the major third. So that would make it the fourth note an avoidance note as shown. Now creating a pentatonic, we'll use the major bass pentatonic that we've been learning with the dominant seventh chord. So next to it you'll see the major bass pentatonic with the 1, the second note, the third, the fifth, and the sixth. Now some jazz players like to substitute the sixth with that minor seventh when they're playing dominant sevenths. For the time being we'll use the major pentatonic scale. And then you'll see underneath it's showing the same notes as the relative minor pentatonic. Okay, so what we've done last week, we had the minor pentatonic patterns. Hope you worked on those. We're going to do that with the major pentatonic patterns today. The pattern here is going up 4 notes and then down to the second, 4 notes up, going down to the third, 4 notes up, going to the fifth. And then we're doing the same pattern descending as well. So we'll go through each dominant seventh with this pentatonic pattern. Now if there's any patterns you can see that you want to practice in advance, my advice is to practice them slurred as 1 beat each note, and then as eighth notes or quavers in the UK, straight first and then add the swing. Okay? And then you're ready to apply the articulation that's shown there. So this is exercise number 4, pentatonic major patterns. Okay, that's a bit tiring on the embouchure, so if you find that too tiring, you could always play it first time through with me just doing the odd lines and then return back and do all the even lines. And I remind you, if there's any lines you need to practice, get them fluent into your fingers by first playing it slurred, one beat each note, and then eighth notes straight or quavers, and then add the swing after that. Okay, now learning dominant sevenths in this lesson number 5 is the ideal time to introduce the blues. The blues is our foundation of jazz and our improvisation. So if you go to page 3, we're going to be now working on the blues. And in its basic form, you'll have 3 different dominant sevenths. And based on the key that you're in, we'll have the dominant seventh on the first of the key, the fourth, and the fifth of the key. So the 3 dominant sevenths, and as you laid it out there in the concert pitch F at the top of your page. So there's your 3 dominant sevenths. Now when we're learning to improvise over the blues, it's great to start with what's called the blues scale. And you'll see that next beside there. The blues scale is one scale that fits over all those 3 chords. Now, I say fits doesn't mean that every note will sound good. What's great about this blues scale is some notes create more tension over top of certain dominant sevenths. So it's that tension and release of tension that makes that blues sound. So to create a blues scale based on the key you're in, you're going to take a minor bass pentatonic. So hopefully you know your minor bass pentatonics now. So if we're in concert pitch F, you'll start with a minor based pentatonic F scale. So looking at the scale there, you can see the root, the minor third, the fourth, the fifth, and the minor seventh, which makes up the minor bass pentatonic. And then you'll see this extra note, sharp fourth or flat fifth note. And that's kind of like a bridging note halfway between these notes. And that's that bluesy sound we'll get with the octave. And that gives you a blues scale. Now if you're trying to work out the minor bass pentatonic, some people like to know what the relative major bass pentatonic is first. That's easier to work out because it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So I've shown that above the same group of notes. Okay, so we have a blues scale and we have 3 dominant seventh chords. Now, in the basic form of a blues, it's 12 bars, shown there in the next 3 lines. 3 4-bar phrases. The first phrase is the dominant seventh based on the tonic of the key, the 1 7, and that's for 4 bars. Then the chord changes to the 4 7, and then for 2 bars, followed by back to the 1 7 for 2 bars. And the final phrase on the 3rd line is the 5 7 going to the 4 7 going to the 1 7. So they're all dominant sevenths, and there's 3 different ones. Okay. Now that, as I say, that one blues scale will fit over top of all 3 chords. So that's what we use when we're improvising today. As I remind you, what's great about the blues is that each chord will have an influence on the notes that you use in your blues scale. So listen out for that tension and release of tension that you're playing along with. And because these are 4-bar phrases, it's a great opportunity to keep playing and reminding our 4-bar phrases of either 1, 1 and a 2, or a 2 and a 2, or 4 bars running. They're great to add within our blues improvisations. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to play through this blues progression here in concert pitch F 4 times. The first 2 times through we'll trade 4s. So I'll play the first line, you play the second, I play the third. Next repeat, you're playing the first line, I play the second, you play the third. And then the next 2 repeats all on your own. Okay, so this is blues concert pitch F using 1 blues scale. So how'd you get on with that? Hopefully you could hear when the chords were changing and the 4-bar phrases as well. So that's the blues in concert pitch F. Now we're going to play in concert pitch B flat, another popular blues key. So that's laid out halfway through the page there. We have our 3 different chords, first based on the 1, the 4, and the 5. And then we have the blues scale laid out there, starting with our minor bass pentatonic, and then we add that raised 4th or flat 5. Okay, get comfortable with that blues scale, and then we're going to play it the same way we did last time. The first 2 times through will be trading 4s, and then 2 more times on your own. So blues in concert pitch B flat. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Now, the blues scale is a fantastic way to get ourselves into hearing the influence of chords with notes, that harmonic melodic relationship. But it's not the end all, because soon we'll be adding chord scales and other chromatic notes that we can add into our improvisation, add more color to our blues and other pieces. Now, if you want to do more blues improvisation, there's lots of backing tracks available on YouTube, and I'll put a few up myself onto the resource of MyMusicPB.com/jazzplate for you to play along with. So I hope you've enjoyed playing the blues, and we'll move on to lesson number 6 next. So I'll see you then. Bye for now.